Welcome to our first video on YouTube, Andrew Scarmole's Hobbies, and today we're going to have a bit of a chat about this kit. I've been building it for a while and it's getting close to being finished, but I thought I'd just take you through a few do's and don'ts and a couple of areas that are a bit sus. Start with a box, real flimsy grouse box art. You know, lots of versions, heaps of decals, nice and big, 1/32 scale, but it has got a few issues. Not about bagging kits. I haven't had a plastic kit that I didn't enjoy building, and this is another one of them, but probably the best F5E in this scale anyway. This is the Kitty Hawk 32nd scale Tiger 2. As I said, flimsy box, real soft, prone to crushing. I've had a couple through the shop and I've had a broken canopy, I've had a sprue missing, but apart from that, it's a really good kit. One major downside, and I'm sure a lot of people have already heard about it, is this booklet. Really groovy, glossy, you know, great looking book to actually start building the kit. Cockpit section was all okay. The section with regards to the front undercarriage, while it's all kind of there, it's a little bit confusing. You've got to be really careful. Areas where they tell you to repeat for the opposite side for the same part, you've got to be really careful that you're doing the right thing, and make sure that you recognise each individual part so you don't get them flipped around the wrong way. Really important. Dry fit, don't commit to glue till you know it's going to go together. Sort of tongue and groove joints with this sort of box section, it actually helps you to hold the thing together without glue. It's a really good idea. Test fit, once you've got the tub together, test fit it inside the fuselage halves. Cockpit section was all really good. No problems there. Went together really well. Canopy section really good. All the doors, I'm going to show the model with one side open, one side closed, and the parts fit really well. So closing it up, being left with a seam, I've had a look at real photos of them and video footage of them and all that sort of stuff. There is a seam there, but it is quite a clean closed joint. So just be careful you clean the parts well. The engine detail, yeah, big deal. You don't see them. Everything gets closed up. The engines are pretty sparse anyway. Undercarriage, haven't actually fitted the undercarriage yet, but one thing I will say, this is another area where you've got to be really careful you get them in the right side. The information's all there, but you just got to be double check that you're going to put them in the right way around. Test fit again in this section here so you don't get it arse about. The top fuselage halves, there's a lot said about the mould line that appears across the fuselage here. The kit got really maligned because of it, and you know, a few people kind of bagged it out. Really, you know what, sanding stick took me 5 minutes and it disappeared. Now that it's under a couple of coats of paint and a clear coat, you wouldn't even know it ever existed. But the surface detail on the fuselage halves is really fine, so be a bit careful about how you do remove that seam. If you do, you will lose surface detail, and the surface detail is so fine it's really hard to reproduce it, rescribing and etc, so just be careful with that seam, but it's really not an issue. It took me 5 minutes and it was gone. Fuselage halves joined together really well, so the fit was fantastic there. I did have to worry about the engines, so I sort of just chucked them in and got it together fairly quickly. You do get some little added bonuses with the kits. One of them is the afterburner rings, or the exhaust outlets, whatever the hell you want to call them. Doesn't show it on the box art. Does show the resin figures. You get a couple of resin figures with it, but I don't use figures anyway. I never put them in, I don't know why, they just don't look real. Anyway, one little area that did kind of freak me out a bit was the intake covers here. when I dry fitted them, they were an absolutely perfect fit. Fantastic. So I went ahead, glued them on. Guess what? Ended up with a step in this seam here. Now the seam there doesn't exist on the real aircraft, so we had to clean that up. I did a pretty slack job of it, but look, I'm happy enough with it. One other thing I will mention here is all these dive brakes or whatever they are, all the gear doors, I actually installed those without glue to paint the underside and protect my steel colour that I've painted the inside of the wells. They were an absolutely perfect fit. So if you want to just build the model and display it in flight, you're not going to have any dramas with these doors. They all fit really, really well. So that's one good thing with the kit. As far as all the weapons go, let's see. Alright, here's most of the stuff. You can see got the canopy here. It's all painted and ready to attach, and I've dry fitted it. I won't actually have to glue that on. It actually connects with a positive click, so I'll be able to just attach that and not have to worry about glue. I've decaled, I've dull coat. The photo etch parts have all been installed. I've done all the interior painting. All my camouflage lines up, so that's going to be able to just be clipped on at the last thing. Airbrushing your canopies, little tip for when you're masking your canopies and you need to handle it, just a little bit of tape, a little bit of a tag on top, makes it easy to handle when you want to paint inside, outside, and all the rest of it. Lots of people have done that. It's nothing really new. Just if you haven't thought of it, there you go. This is a little bit of a handy trick. As you can see, wheels, all undercarriage doors, all the rails, they're all done, they're all decaled, all ready to go onto the aircraft, but they'll all go on at the last minute so I don't go through breaking bits and pieces off. Drop tank's done. Yeah, anyway, there you go. All the different weapons. I won't bother with a glove. I was going to try to talk myself into putting a glove on before I handle. This is what I usually do, but here we go. There it is. All the cockpit done. Going through the motion of putting a dull coat. Yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, but you can see on the wing there, this side is still gloss coated. You can still see the gloss coat that I've used to apply the decals to. Decals went down really good. The decals were really good actually. Bit of Mr. Mark softer, got them to soak down really well. And then I've weathered over the top. And then if I turn it around that way, you can sort of see the effect that the dull coat has on it. Alright, so we've airbrushed our camouflage pattern, gloss coated, applied decals, softened them to get them to soak down into all the detail, and then I've actually done a bit of a weathering job on it, some streaking and all the rest of it. Pin washers in some of the panel lines. I don't go overboard with too much weathering. I don't know, you can end up spending months and months making something look like it's been to hell and back. I just love the look of the jet, and I don't want to dirty it up too much. So that's the process I've got to there, and then here I've applied the dull coat. So I kind of hope you can see the difference between those two wings. You can still see remnants of the gloss coat showing through my weathering on that side, and on this side it's kind of disappeared on the dull finish. Now I might come back later on with some pigments and stuff, but I won't overdo it. I don't want to dirty it up too much. But you can kind of see in different sections there where I've dull coated and where I haven't. The underside of the aircraft, oh there's the gun detail anyway. Pretty good, all fitted in there quite well. Like I said, I'm no rivet counter. I just like building. I love the painting process and the decaling process. And I don't like to stall and spend months and months just stuffing around when I get the chance to actually do some modelling. I found the kit really, really easy to put together. You've just got to be really careful with the instructions. Read them over and over and over again. Double check the position of your parts. It all sort of goes together in a modular form. So, you know, your gun section here, the cockpit section there, dry fit it, test fit it, before you glue anything together. Double check and make sure you get it right. Another little thing too, Now I don't like putting undercarriage on early. According to the instructions, you've got to glue the nose wheel into these halves. It sandwiches it in there like a clamp. So what I've done, over here there's like a little section where if you glue it in, you can't remove it. You can't glue the wheel in after you've put that section into the fuselage. So I've cut a slot so that I don't want to pull that out at the moment. It's just a bit of foam mask in there. But I've cut a slot at this end, so I'll be able to just push the undercarriage in later. It just makes it easier to handle the model at this stage. Anyway, there you go. So that's my F5E as it stands. Just about there. Now, I'm not sure what else I've got to say about it. What I might do in our next video, I might actually show you how I apply my clears. Now I'm a bit of an old-fashioned modeller. I'm not big on acrylics. I like my enamels, and I've been getting into these lacquer-based paints as well of late. Beautiful to airbrush, going really thin, really easy to control. They dry fast, with in relationship to enamel colours. But they're easy to control with your airbrush, so I don't know, it lends itself to this sort of camouflage pattern. I've airbrushed that freehand, and it's a long, slow sort of process. You know, when your paint drying up and you airbrush too fast, that's why I like enamels. I think they're easy to control and keep thin. But in the next video, I might show you how I actually apply the clear coats and finish that dull coat off for you. But this time around, I just really wanted to get sort of going and get a video done as a bit of a test bed more than anything. As a bit of a free plug for the video editing software, which I've kind of done a crash course on. In 2 days, I've kind of managed to figure out the basics of how it works. Just got to remember where I keep saving the files so I can retrieve them. But I'm not very computer savvy, but I'm getting there. So I thought I'd just pop this video out there, attach it to my little intro video that I've done, and just see how it all works and how it comes up with the cameras I'm using and the lighting and sound. So anyway, there you go. There's my F5E Tiger 2. That's the Kitty Hawk. I said next video I'll do the clear, and we might attach some of the gear. Sort of see if we can get it completed, and we'll come back then and we'll have a chat then.